This is breaking news from the Las Vegas Review-Journal, sponsored by Michael Gaughan's South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa.
Good evening, I'm Jen Ah, coming to you from the Review-Journal studio. The 2021 legislative session has wrapped up for lawmakers here in Nevada.
Motion carries. 81st session of the Nevada legislature is adjourned. Sine die.
After being in session since February, the legislature adjourned on Monday at midnight, leaving some bills to die while others move on to the governor's desk to be signed into law. The Review-Journal's team has been closely following these last few months. Tonight, we have politics and government editor Steve Sebelius just came back from Carson City covering the final days of the legislature. Good evening, Steve.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
All right, so let's jump right into it. Steve, one of the bills passed through the legislature will expand mail-in voting in Nevada. And Steve, as you know, the elections had a lot of Republicans fired up. How are they feeling about this bill?
They're not feeling very good about it. They were opposed to mail-in voting and making that the default. Now, you will still be able to go to the polls in person if you want to. A lot of traditionalists feel that they want to do that either in early voting or on election day. That'll still be allowed. But under this bill, all active registered voters in the state of Nevada will be mailed a mail ballot that they can fill out at home and send back through the mail. And that mail balloting this year saw a higher turnout of actual number of voters than ever before in Nevada. So I expect that'll increase turnout going forward.
For sure, it's just plainly more convenient, even though some people don't trust it. We also want to hear about Assembly Bill 495, which one lawmaker described as a monumental compromise. It's set to channel hundreds of millions of dollars into education from mining industry taxes. Steve, there's a lot of buzz surrounding this bill as well, right, Steve?
Yeah, absolutely. It was probably one of the last major things that happened during the legislature. It was a grand compromise, if you will. The mining industry really did this, I think, to avoid having to face a ballot initiative that would have asked voters to increase their taxes or remove the cap on the net proceeds of minerals that's contained in the state constitution. So this was a compromise on their part to support this rather than face the potential of paying taxes that even greater amounts going forward.
Sounds like a win-win situation for the mining industry and for education then. Another topic that's generating a lot of buzz is the state's public option health insurance plan. Now, this is something Governor Steve Sisolak spoke on during his press briefing just after the legislature adjourned. He says he's planning on signing it. Now, what does this bill mean for the average Nevadan? How will it impact them, and how will it affect the state's healthcare industry?
Well, it will allow more people to sign up for healthcare insurance, people who don't have it necessarily now. All the companies that bid on state programs such as Medicaid will be required to offer a insurance plan to people through that process, so that people will get insurance who otherwise would probably not have gotten it. Now, the healthcare industry said this is going to drive up costs, create uncertainty for them as they plan and pool people in their insurance markets currently. Doctors and hospitals were opposed to this bill. In fact, there was a huge demonstration out in front of the legislative building on Carson Street, complete with rather elaborate signs and tents and people saying, don't do this to healthcare. But this bill passed anyway because it was a Democratic priority, and Democrats control both houses and the governor's mansion.
Okay, we'll have to wait and see what happens there. And a series of bills set to push forward police reform were also passed and already signed by the governor. As you know, police reform has been a hot topic nationwide since George Floyd's death last year. The question I have for you is, do experts believe these bills will truly make a difference?
Yeah, I think they will. There's a number of bills, one of which would require de-escalation techniques to be taught more than they're taught now. Requires police agencies to enact early warning systems to kind of detect early on the potential for problems with officers. There's also a limitation on what they call no-knock warrants. Those are warrants where they just break down the door So there's limitations on those. You can still do it in certain cases, but not in as many cases as you could before. And there's another one that would ban quotas, ticket quotas, so that people wouldn't be issued as many tickets to conform with what police call work product standards in the department. So there's a number of kind of broad-ranging reforms that were enacted in this session that experts believe should make things better.
Sounds promising. And, these bills are, of course, being passed with good intentions. Hopefully, a lot of good comes out of them. Steve, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We know that there were hundreds of bills that made it through the legislature, and you and your team had a lot to go over, a lot of late nights from what I hear. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, just that we do have on the Review Journal's website at reviewjournal.com a list of, not a comprehensive list of bills, but quite a few bills that passed, and also another list of bills that didn't quite make it, such as the ban on the death penalty. And those can be found on our website at reviewjournal.com.
Yes, our readers should definitely check those out. Thanks again, Steve. That was Steve Sebelius for you, the RJ's Politics and Government Editor. You can find more legislative coverage, as Steve just mentioned, on our website under 2021 Legislature. You can also download our free RJ mobile app to get news alerts sent right to your phone. And you can watch our 7 at 7 a.m. and p.m. newscasts on Roku, Apple TV, YouTube, Amazon Fire, all your favorite streaming platforms. I'm Jen Ah. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Hope you all have a great night.
You've been watching breaking news from the Las Vegas Review Journal, sponsored by Michael Gaughan's South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa.